Hersheypark is such an interesting place. As enthusiasts, we know it as a place with a history, a lively family atmosphere, and a place for fun. We know a lot about this place, but we guarantee that there is something you might not know about Hersheypark. Today, we're going to be sharing 9 interesting facts we bet you simply didn't know about Hersheypark. Our first sweet fact is about the Milton Hershey Fountain. You can find this fountain at the intersection of Chocolatetown and Founders Way. In front of it is a little historical marker that tells some backstory about Milton, and at the center of the fountain is a bronze statue of Milton himself. What's so interesting about this statue is that it is the exact height of Milton Hershey. Milton stood at a height of 5 feet 7 inches, and this statue represents this height to the inch. So the next time you're heading deeper into the park to enjoy Hersheypark's attractions, take a look at this statue and see how you would compare to Milton's height. Next, we're going to spend some time talking about Great Bear, Hersheypark's B&M invert. Like most coasters at Hersheypark, Great Bear doesn't have much physical theming, but the name Great Bear wasn't just chosen for no reason. There's a constellation called the Great Bear, also known as Ursa Major, which is made up of 7 major stars. Interestingly, Great Bear was designed with 7 major elements in its layout. In order, these elements are the pre-drop helix, a 124-foot drop, a vertical loop, Immelman, 0G roll, corkscrew, and an S-bend before hitting the brake run. And don't forget about its infamous roar, mimicking the roar of a bear. This sound is produced from the train moving over the box-shaped spine of the track. And while we're talking about Great Bear, let's talk about its supports as well. Great Bear uses the terrain around it throughout the hollow to provide a unique experience that other B&M inverts can't provide. The coaster crosses Spring Creek quite a few times, however you will never find a support built within Spring Creek. All of the supports were built alongside the creek but not within it, so that the coaster wouldn't interfere with it in any way. It's impressive when you think about the amount of time Great Bear spends alongside this creek without even touching it. Moving right along, our next sweet fact is all about ride vehicles that have names. That's right, you may not have known this, but there are 2 attractions at Hersheypark that have names for their trains, and they would be the Dry Gulch Railroad and Fahrenheit. At Dry Gulch, the names are displayed on the chimneys of each train. The oldest of the 2 steam engines is Scooter, which replaced the railroad's oldest train in 1984. The other train's name is Janelle, which was added in 1990 and is the only train of the 2 that currently has a spot in the back for guests who can't transfer from a wheelchair. A short walk away at Fahrenheit, you can find the names of the trains in between the nose and the front car of each train. A maximum of 3 trains can operate at a time at Fahrenheit, and their names are Scratch, Norm, and Stucky. Unlike the trains at Dry Gulch, each of these trains are identical, so there really isn't a difference between these trains. Nonetheless, it's still something that's unique to these rides compared to others at Hersheypark. Hersheypark has built a lot of record-breaking attractions within the amusement industry, mostly being their roller coasters. Just to go through a few, Super Duper Looper was the first coaster to ever feature an inversion on the East Coast. Skyrush was the first Intamin wing coaster model and the first wing coaster over 200 feet tall. Stormrunner opened as the first hydraulic launch coaster to feature inversions and a dual loading station. Fahrenheit opened with the steepest drop on a coaster in the world. Wildcat was the first GCI the manufacturer ever built. Lightning Racer was the first racing and dueling coaster in the US. Great Bear was the first inverted coaster in Pennsylvania, and Reese's Cupfusion has the most targets on an interactive gaming attraction in the world. Maybe this is why so many enthusiasts praise Hersheypark's incredible coaster lineup. Let's head over to Reese's Cupfusion. When you ride this attraction, it is definitely a sensory overload, and at every turn there is something new to see, smell, and hear. As you traverse around the layout, you will hear an iconic dubstep song. This song is actually available to stream and purchase on iTunes, and it's called Try This by Pegboard Nerds. This modern EDM song was released in 2015, so it interestingly was not created specifically for Reese's Cupfusion. It still makes the experience as you try to save the Crystal Cup from being stolen by Mint the Merciless ever more exciting and intense, and a lot of people don't know about this song. Ride speeches throughout the park warn the guests of safety instructions to follow before, during, and after the ride experience, and no one really thinks about the voice behind the speech. Well, Nick Pantalone worked at Hersheypark as an operator and was a roller coaster enthusiast. After being in the hospital from a bus accident, the doctor found out Nick had a rare cancer in his abdomen that was already in stage 4. Unfortunately, he did pass away from the cancer, but prior to that, Hersheypark actually came to the hospital so they could have Nick record ride speeches for some attractions, including his favorite, Wildcat. To this day, his speeches are still played at Wildcat, Lightning Racer, Great Bear, and Wild Mouse, and a plaque dedicated in his honor can be found in the mulch in front of Wildcat's station. If you want to learn more about Nick's incredible and heart-touching story, we highly suggest checking out this 10-minute documentary in the card above, and there will be a link in the description too. Going back in time to the early stages of Hersheypark, we'll be talking more about the man himself, Milton S. Hershey. Quite often, Milton would visit the park to tidy the place up himself. There would be litter around the park and he would help pick up what was left behind. There was one thing he would actually leave on the ground if he came upon it, and that would be wrappers from Hershey's chocolate bars. Milton saw it as a form of free advertising and a reminder to the legacy he had built in the town around him. Imagine walking around Hersheypark today and there were candy wrappers drifting around the park. Definitely an interesting concept. Our last sweet fact that we have to share with you today is about the area where the majority of Skyrush is. This area used to be called the Sunken Gardens, and it was created in 1932. It was used as a leisure area where guests could view an electric fountain, take a ride on a miniature railroad, or enjoy the weather by Spring Creek. Eventually, the Sunken Gardens were closed for future renovations. The area partly became the former Tudor Square and Rhineland of the old main entryway. The rest of this space is now home to Hersheypark and the Skyrush Path, which actually follows the exact route of the miniature railroad from back in the day. There are a lot of things we could share with you about Hersheypark from its rich history, but these are just a few things that we thought you might not know about. We're curious which ones you knew and which ones you didn't, so do us a favor and let us know in the comments below. Hersheypark is finally open for the 2021 season, and we can't wait to bring you better cinematic footage than ever, as well as vlogs and other content from inside the park. Be sure to subscribe to catch all of our content and to become a Hershey coaster enthusiast just like us. We hope you enjoyed this video, and we'll see you back here soon.